Hello and welcome to part 4. Part 4? I think it's part 4. I've lost count. Part 4 of my headphone amplifier project. And yeah, despite all the stuff that's been going on, despite being getting ill and everything, there's a lot of nasty bugs going around. I've managed to get my head down and get some real good progress out of this. And yeah, so I continue with it. Right, firstly, please excuse the bad lighting over here at this side of the room. I just want to quickly show you, and also please excuse any background noise. There's relatives and kids in the house, and you know, my nephews and niece, and yeah. I wanted to show you this, what I was doing in the last video in project 3. Basically, this was the circuit I got from the internet. And I initially, I cannot talk today. I initially built it, and it sounded blah. Basically, so what I did was I decided to kind of modify the circuit and do my own modification. I omitted these diodes. It sounded better, except that started overheating, so I ended up putting a current I can never say this even at the best of times. Current limiting resistor. So I added those modifications. However, and I realized, of course, that I had used the wrong diodes. I used, because diodes just look the same to me, but I needed to use a 1N4148, and I ended up accidentally using wrong ones for this. And I built it again using the correct diodes, but the thing, it worked fine. It worked beautifully, except this transistor kept overheating. Again, I ditched this, and made like a third revision, a third modification, which is that. I added a very small 55 ohm current limiting resistor, I can never say it, to that. The diode's obviously still in the circuit, but also to stabilize the distortion on the input. Other than that, I can't talk today. Other than these modifications, I used my own transistors, which obviously, you know, they're still general purpose transistors. There's nothing greatly special about them. Just 2 NPNs and 1 PNP. On the first night, I had created the VU scale. There you go, Mr. Smiley, I created him. And you would have remembered that this had an extra bit, and there was a circuit, an amplifier circuit, which I built on the second part. But what had happened is I wanted a little bit of a boost. It wasn't loud enough, and it was like, you know, when there's something that is like just a little less than what you need, just a little less than it, and it just does your freaking head in. I just know it's gonna do my head in. So what I wanted to do was build another simple small amp, like a simpler amp, which will give it a little bit of a kick. I ended up creating this thing. This little simple thing ended up being way more powerful than this huge complicated thing. And then let's just like compare them for a second. Anyway, I tried to put this and this together. No, it just did not work. Basically, this thing started making spluttering noises and things like that. And I was just like, no, I can't be bothered with extra stupid noises. So I took this out of the equation, and this ended up giving me a very clean amplification. Thing is, there is absolutely no way of connecting this VU scale to this amplifier, the output of this amplifier. That's if I'm using a single voltage supply, which I am. Obviously there is one common ground, and there's one thing. The reason why is because the output, the positive, the plus volts, is actually the ground, which is weird, I know. But that's how it is, as you can see in the circuit diagram here. So there was absolutely no way I could connect it to this, because So if I were to have connected the output audio into the input of this, but that's the problem. This is going to be on the same supply as that, which means that the ground on here is connected to negative. So if I were to connect the audio ground to the ground on here, it would be just a complete short circuit. So that was a problem. There's just absolutely no way of doing it. So, but the thing is, I know that this requires a little bit more oomph. Mr. Smiley is a bit of a spoiled brat. He requires a bit of a oomph to get things going. So what I decided to do, I went around, I looked around for amplifier circuits, and I just created like a single stage amplifier circuit. And that I can just connect, I can bypass this amplifier and I can connect the source, parallel the source to this and also to this, and it'll work. And yes, I have tested everything, it works. Today what I want to do is just finish the freaking circuit off, build this thing, which is the, you know, the initial mini transistor amplification for this. What I'm gonna have on this is the amplifier for this, the VU scales, and also all the switching and the capacitors and stuff, all, you know, all the main stuff that connects everything together. So that'll be the main board, because there's like so many there's so many stupid boards here that, you know, it's kind of, it's my circuit diagram, which is really roughly handwritten, and I need to do a proper one. Right, so the transistor is in, not quite. That is awful. Come on. Come on, Natty, you can do better than that. That's good. That's good. And that's good. I need to connect this audio. I can connect a resistor to the audio at the beginning so it doesn't kind of go nuts. So either it's 2.7K, it's 2K7. Okay, these resistors, focus, darn it. These resistors here, apparently they are like unused stock from the Cold War. That's what the eBay seller was claiming, and part of me kind of could possibly believe him, because this is like one of the packs. I got like quite a bulk pack of him because it was going quite cheap, and if they are Cold War resistors, cool. But if anyone of you reads Cyrillic text, whether it's Russian or any Soviet language, then that, I don't know if anyone can read it. if do, please tell me. I'm not sure I trust this solder. It's not Silverline. The Silverline solder's finished. So I had to kind of like rewrap it with this stuff, which I've used as a reel for wire. I'm not sure I trust it, because to be honest, it tastes like cinnamon. It's almost like, you know, every time I do that, I get cinnamon in it. So I don't know if they've kind of like, you know, filled it up in the middle with like cinnamon powder or something. I do like cinnamon, but mixed with tin and lead is not something that is appealing to me. Do you know the problem with this stupid cinnamon solder? Is that it has no flux. So where's my flux? I am recovering from my cough. So thankfully I'm not coughing at all anymore. Right, so that 4.7K is the one I want, which is this one. The diode which I need to connect is a 1N4148, which is somewhere. Oh, it's there. It is a small signal fast switching diode. And that's what I used with those amplifiers too. Sorry, that it's amplifier too. That. Right, so that is one side of it done, and I'll be back, and I have had done the other channel along with it. I've actually done the second part of the circuit, the left channel, now to test them. The thing is, I've started like, you know, getting carried away and soldering stuff together and putting stuff together, and I just completely forgot to actually test it. So let's just hope I've done it right and everything works, because right now I could not be bothered with any any extra fluff that's going on. I just clean this up first. Okay, got my connector leads here, all of them. This is confusing. I should never... This is not the power, this is audio. I should never do that. First of all, power goes into here. Another power source to this circuitry here. There's a separate power for the LEDs, which is this. Just linking all the plus volts together. Plus volts on this, because that's just causing a lot of trouble. Good job I shut my eyes. Okay, so the plus volts is connected to the entire circuit. The entire circuit all has plus volts. Obviously not connected yet, but now let's start with the ground, which shouldn't be as difficult because, to be honest, there's internal wires going from each, except for that. If I just connect one lead from there, this to the ground here, then all of the circuit ground should be fine and connected. Right, okay, now the audio. Okay, input goes to this and this and this. This right goes to this right, which is going to the thingy. And where's that right? The right is this red one, just confusing red one, which looks like plus volts, but it's not. I sure know good ways on how to confuse myself, don't I? Okay. Let's test it with the not so good cassette player first, just in case. If all goes well, you will hear whatever it is blasting through these headphones. Now let's connect the headphones to... Okay, one channel is not working now. I'm just checking it on this, just in case, you know, anything happens and it was all funny. I don't want it to damage my good one. So let's connect it to a good one. I have this connected to my Sony cassette player, recorder. And that's connected to the input. My output is connected to these thingy. On the Sony, obviously the line out is the only thing that works, and that is extremely quiet. You can barely hear it when you're putting headphones in. So, okay, so there you go. That's working perfectly. And as you can see, one side is working. Let me just calibrate the other side. I know that... Okay, where the freak is that screwdriver? That's actually good sound coming from headphones. You can hear that clearly, I'm sure. Yeah, one channel is working well, the other one is a bit funny. Why is that? You know, I've soldered everything, so there's no need for so many of these freaking cables, these blue ones. So, but the thing is, there was a trouble with one of the channels here, and I just been like, you know, banging my head against that. Basically, it turned out to be a dodgy transistor. Basically, the transistor was working, but the thing is, it was one thing more audio signal to actually switch on, and you know, because this transistor was, when I just tested it, was actually testing as working, which it kind of was semi. But you know, the same way an LED, when you put too much voltage in it, it becomes a high voltage LED. It's like you burn it, but it still works, but you just need to put more power in. That's what happened to that transistor. Now, a light bulb just went off in my mind about the Marantz. Now, I kind of like got a feeling that it's one of the transistors. And yes, it seems to be working. Wow. This is the full volume through the headphones. And as you can see there, that's working. Inshallah. Thank God. And that sound which you're hearing is actually coming from headphones and at full volume. I mean, that is pretty impressive. Because if I were to take... This is amplified amazingly well. My project is finally done. The only thing left is doing, which is going to be the next video, is doing the outer casing and sorting that out and designing that and all that. But yes, everything's working perfectly. I just need to kind of add a few things like the switching and the capacitor and everything. The inspiration for this headphone amp is actually retro and vintage, and obviously everything is vintage style. Even got myself a vintage style volume control, the slider one. So yes, the next time I see you with regards to this project will be to do with the outer casing and the design of that and how it will all look and how all this will be put together. So everything is working fine and all well. I'm happy. I need to get some sleep now, desperately. As I was saying to one of my subscribers, Type 2K, just yesterday, that it's hard to keep your room tidy when you're doing electronics, and it's so true. This is one of the reasons why I want to get this project done and over with so I can have my room back. You know, it's like being taken over by electronics. But I've been enjoying this journey of this amplifier project, and I just, to be honest, another reason why I want to get it done is that I just cannot wait to use it and, you know, to enjoy it, because I'm happy with how it's turned out. Thank you for joining me for this video and the rest of them. There is more to come, of course. I will be, you know, doing more with this. I think there's one more video left with this and it's all wrapped up. Plus, I need to show you my other projects that I've been doing. So please be sure to subscribe and like, and of course, leave your thoughts and comments. So I go now. Bye-bye for now. Adios.